Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Tesla. Among these Fortune 500 companies, they all share one thing in common. The largest shareholder of each, without exception, points to the same name, Vanguard. Vanguard is a mysterious financial group that controls $8 trillion, and its assets, exceeding $50 trillion, could bail out more than 20 Evergrandes. Even Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has only just surpassed the $1 trillion mark. This is an entity that can simultaneously provide answers to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. International disputes like the Israel-Palestine conflict can also be linked together by this super financial group that connects China, the US, and Japan, the world's three largest economies. Today, let us delve into Vanguard, the entity secretly controlling the global economy.
Jack Bogle is pretty much like a T-Rex. You don't see too many people anywhere in the world managing that much money.
The story of Vanguard begins with one man, John Bogle. In the world of finance, legends are always born out of adversity, and his fate was supposed to be one of privilege. In early 20th century America, a time when economic prosperity and disillusionment were intertwined, a boy who should have lived a life of luxury was born. Yet, just a few months after his birth, fate mercilessly dealt a heavy blow to his family. Due to his father's unemployment and alcoholism, the family's financial situation quickly deteriorated. All of this made the young John Bogle understand hardship and self-reliance from an early age. But it was precisely in these hardships that his story quietly began to take root. After enduring so much, he relied on sheer determination to get into Princeton University, and it was there that fate's turning point quietly arrived. At that time, Wall Street was like a sailor caught in a violent storm, with greed and fear locked in constant struggle. The wild market fluctuations gradually made John Bogle realize the high management fees and complex strategies of traditional funds. This made it difficult for investors to profit. He firmly believed that most actively managed funds could not outperform the market in the long run, so he began to contemplate a simpler and lower-cost way to invest. The answer to this question ultimately led him to create the world's first index fund. In 1976, John Bogle founded the world's first index fund, opening a mysterious door for investors and quietly changing the rules of the entire financial world.
And I remember in 1993, after seeing all these fund managers underperform, I finally started to adopt Bogle's perspective on the whole matter. I remember that at the time, you were paying 2.5% per year for active management, and most of them weren't outperforming. Suddenly, you could invest in the S&P 500 for just a fraction of that cost. It was a simple insight, yet truly revolutionary.
In the early days, John Bogle's Vanguard Index Fund faced a lot of controversy, but as time went on, more investors recognized the advantages of index funds. Plus, with Vanguard's unique structure, being owned by all its investors, the amount of money investors put in determines how much of Vanguard they own. You could say that everyone holds shares. This model, where everyone is a shareholder, not only boosts investors' trust but also drives the company's ongoing growth. Over time, Vanguard grew from the initial $10 million in assets to now managing $8 trillion. $8 trillion, though in Chinese that's just 5 characters. Let me put it this way. Vanguard manages $8 trillion US, which is equivalent to 50 trillion RMB in assets, enough to bail out more than 20 Evergrandes. To exaggerate a bit, forget about comparing it to buying a few companies like Maotai, Tencent, or Alibaba. China's GDP in 2023 was $17.7 trillion US. So what does $8 trillion US mean? It's self-evident. Let's take a look at where these $8 trillion are mainly distributed. First, Vanguard's $250 billion stake in Apple makes it the largest shareholder of Apple. Then there's $220 billion in Microsoft, also making it the largest shareholder of Microsoft. Vanguard holds $90 billion in Amazon, $85 billion in JP Morgan Chase, and $58 billion in Tesla. These are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Vanguard's investments. In short, whether it's companies you've heard of, used, never heard of, or never used, Vanguard has a stake in all the top Western companies. I estimate that Vanguard has invested in at least 4,500 companies, with the total market value of these holdings reaching about 4.2 trillion US dollars. In addition, Vanguard also holds around 4.8 trillion US dollars in cash, real estate, and other financial products. With so much wealth under his control, John Bogle should have ranked among the top 3 on the global rich list. But surprisingly, when this legendary figure passed away in 2019, his personal fortune was less than $100 million.
Breaking news, and this time it's sad news. An icon of the financial industry, John Bogle, the founder of Vanguard Group. He died at the age of 89.
Jack Bogle has probably done more for the American investor than any other man in the country, Jack. There he is.
Speaking of this, the truly hair-raising story is only just beginning to surface. Deeply binding the interests of clients, themselves, and the group is not the most ingenious part of this game. What's truly powerful is that an institution like this in China can bring together the world's wealthy and then use a massive, almost irresistible pool of capital to influence global politics, military affairs, and business. That is the real power behind money. Some might say there are institutions even larger than Vanguard. Isn't there also BlackRock? And besides that, isn't there another investment management group called State Street? That's right, BlackRock manages nearly $10 trillion in assets, and State Street has around $4 trillion under management. The three of them are known as the Big Three of global capital, but they are by no means competitors. There's a saying in investment circles, wherever you find Vanguard, you'll also find BlackRock and State Street. As mentioned earlier, among the more than 130 Fortune Global 500 companies in the US, over 90 of them. Vanguard is a major shareholder in all of them. Coincidentally, among these 130 plus companies, BlackRock also appears on the list of major shareholders in more than 80 of them, closely followed by State Street. Not only do these three giants invest in the same companies, but they also hold shares in each other. Interestingly, the people who truly control the investment directions of these three major groups, their helmsmen, are without exception all Jewish. Not long ago, BlackRock signed an investment agreement with the Ukrainian government called the Ukraine Development Fund. The details are that Ukraine will use all its assets, including land and power grid resources, as collateral in order to obtain BlackRock's investment in Ukraine. This financial aid means that Ukraine's infrastructure industries will henceforth be firmly controlled by BlackRock. When the power of capital among the wise becomes intertwined with political maneuvering, we can't help but ask, where does true power really lie? Is it in the hands of the politicians performing their political games on stage, or with the capital giants who influence global markets through financial leverage? Financial giants like Vanguard and BlackRock have, through their actions, demonstrated how capital can invisibly shape the fate of nations. Perhaps real power does not rest in the hands of decision makers, but rather with those who possess resources and capital behind the scenes. The choices they make are quietly reshaping the structure of the world. Reality is often more complex and profound than any script, and all of this may just be the beginning of a much larger story.